Things I wish I knew when I first got into plants. When plants need water, their leaves will curl and wrinkle. Their pot will also be noticeably lighter. When you water, completely saturate the soil and allow the pot to drain. Fertilize your plants. They need nutrients for optimal growth. Here's what I use. If you forget to water, get succulent. If you overwater, get pothos or philodendron. Test your leaves. I use microfiber glove. If you don't have sunlight, get grow lights. Some are pretty cheap. Things I wish I knew when I first got into plants. When plants need water, their leaves will curl and wrinkle. Their pot will also be noticeably lighter. When you water, completely saturate the soil and allow the pot to drain. Fertilize your plants. They need nutrients for optimal growth. Here's what I use. If you forget to water, get succulent. If you overwater, get pothos or philodendron. Test your leaves. I use microfiber glove. If you don't have sunlight, get grow lights. Some are pretty cheap.
The internet gets triggered every time I do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm repotting my philodendron Congo. This is the best plant ever and I cannot stop gushing about it. The roots look amazing and so healthy. Don't freak out, but I'm just trimming the roots a little bit. I'm doing this because I like the size that it is and I want to keep it healthy while still keeping it in the same pot size. I'm giving it a slightly larger nursery liner, fresh soil, and putting it back in the pot for at least another year.
They were throwing this orchid away, so I decided to do an experiment. The flowers had died off, so that's why they were throwing it away. The first thing I want to do is get it out of this medium. Since I'm not sure how long ago it was repotted, it's a good idea to refresh the medium at least every 1 to 2 years. This stem actually looks like it might branch. You can see the little baby there, so I'm going to cut just the dead stuff. Now that our plant is done soaking, it's time to remove all the moss. You can use a blunt object like a chopstick, or in this case a knitting needle. You can also just use your fingers. I try not to so much because I do this so often my hands can get pretty dirty, which my wife does not appreciate. What you're seeing here is long fiber sphagnum moss, which is a really common planting medium. Let's remove all the dead roots. Papery thin, no good. Plump, excellent. Sanitize your scissors with some hydrogen peroxide, some alcohol, or even some bleach, and cut away all those roots that are no longer living. That transition didn't go as planned, but that's all right. Okay, I'm going to remove the rest of the moss using a little bit of water shaky, shaky, shake method. You can see there's quite a bit left over. Orchids like a lot of airflow to their roots, so I poked a whole bunch of holes in this plastic nursery pot to provide that. And here's the experiment. Charcoal. This is horticultural charcoal. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was at an estate sale where they had an orchid greenhouse. Some old-timer that had been keeping orchids forever had all of his orchids in charcoal, so I've always wanted to try it. Kicked up a little dust on my face, no problem. In theory, it should work as long as we can get enough air down to the roots, and I actually kind of like the way it looks. A little spooky.
I wanted my reverting elbow to live her best life, so I decided to air layer it. I had to get creative because her aerial roots were super long, but after a while they were growing, so I decided it was time to go ahead and top it. Here's her beautiful roots. When I tell you, I was shocked that she gave me 2 growth points. That growth point down there at the base was a total surprise. So these grew in pretty quickly, and although I was hoping for like more variegation, I got 2 beautiful healthy leaves. She's gonna get nice and bushy, which I'm excited about. We'll see what comes out of this growth point. I have hope. And here's the top cut.
Did you know if you got a snake plant, you can chop off a leaf, then make a V-shaped cut like this, and place it in a cup of water. Before you know it, it'll grow roots. Boom! Ground pot with soil, plant the leaf, and grow a whole new snake plant. So grab a leaf and make your own snake clone. Snake plants help to purify the air in your home. So grow.
It looks like this, but you want it to look more like this. Here's a super easy hack to get bushier houseplants. All you need is some bobby pins, and you're simply going to open these up a little bit and use these to pin the stems back into the pot. When doing this, it's so important to make sure you're pinning the nodes of the plant back into the soil. The nodes are found at the base of each leaf, and this is where new roots will grow. Over time, these nodes will root back into the soil, and you will be left with the bushiest, fullest houseplant of your dreams.
Plants in this greenhouse. Most orchids are epiphytic, meaning they grow on trees, but some are grown in ground. Every single orchid has this exact structure. 12, 4, and 8, you have sepals. 9 and 3, you have petals. And one final petal at the bottom has a lip shape, but they're bred constantly, so you get weird adaptations like this. This kind of looks like a pitcher plant, but it's actually just a modified version of that bottom lip. Sometimes they get modified so much they don't even look like the same plant. This here is a vampire orchid, but the ones you're probably used to are the Trader Joe orchids or Phalaenopsis. They're easier to care for than you think, so stay tuned for orchid tips coming soon.
Remember when I had to chop my pilea down with a saw?
Did you know if you grab an orange, cut into it, then pick out a seed, and soak it in water for 30 minutes? Then grab a pot with soil, plant the seed about 2 inches deep, cover lightly with soil, lightly water it, cover the pot with a cup or a bag for humidity, and in just 4 to 5 days the seed will sprout. Leave it in the pot, keep the soil moist at all times, and it'll grow a beautiful seedling. When it's 6 inches long, plant it in a bigger pot, be patient, and boom, grow your own orange tree. Try it.
Oh